I would never want my skeletons in my closet or experiences that I've been through in my life to affect like the message that I'm trying to give out to people, you feel me?
Before Wifisfuneral would form a duo with DJ Scheme, become a part of Ski Mask and X's Members Only, and go on to work with the likes of Little Skies, Jay Critch, and YBN Namir. Before dropping tracks like Juveniles, Lil Jeff Hardy, 25 Lighters, and Love the Feeling.
Sipping pop prescription shit, I just love the feeling.
Before earning himself a spot on the most coveted magazine cover in hip-hop.
I'm a 2018 XXL freshman.
Like a number of his fellow members-only artists, Wifisfuneral has some serious rap skills and musical influences that span across multiple genres, including hip-hop and rock. While he came up as an artist in South Florida, and many believe he was born and raised there, he actually comes from the Bronx.
Yeah, I was born in the Bronx, 179th Street, the East Prospect.
I didn't know that. Kev never told me that one.
That's not the only thing most people don't know about Wi-Fi, including his original moniker, which was Mozart LaFleur. What's going on, guys? It's your boy Michael McCretton, documenting the life and career of Wifisfuneral prior to fame, here for you on Before They Are Famous. Now, this video is long overdue, with you guys requesting this on the daily for years and years. Now, I'm not really sure why we haven't moved on this sooner, but then I moved studios and I was installing Wi-Fi, and a light bulb went off. So damn it, man, I got some work to do. Also, this video is brought to us by our friends over at Candy Pens. Now let's get into this video.
Peep died, that hit me the most because I was like, yo, that could have been me because I didn't overdose like 4 times.
What?
Isaiah Rivera was born on March 20th, 1997 in the Bronx, New York. His mother was born in Puerto Rico and raised in NYC, while his father has roots in Jamaica, while his dad was also an MC himself, a Bronx-based freestyle battle rapper. But when Isaiah was still a baby, just 6 months old, well, his father, he left the family. Now his mother, she would go on to get remarried, and Isaiah would be raised primarily by his mom and his stepdad. But he also spent a lot of time with his grandma and his grandpa, who he says were pretty much like a second set of parents.
This is my grandmother, Elba.
Hello, guys.
This is my grandfather.
Come on in,
James.
James. Come on in.
In this mini doc he shot with Hot New Hip Hop, well, he also gave his fans a glimpse of the hallways in his grandma's apartment, which he played in as a little kid. Pretty cool.
Used to run back and forth from here to here, throwing footballs, basketballs, Dragon Ball Z toys, wrestling toys, you name it, all that shit, it went down over here.
Now, Isaiah was still a kid when his family moved to Palm Beach, Florida. When exactly was this move? Well, in different interviews, he stated 5 or 7. So I think I'm just gonna split the difference and say 6. Not long after he would be writing his first bars, he told Lyrical Lemonade that his mom first suggested he try rapping, and that the music video for Mo Money Mo Problems, well, it made him want to do it for the rest of his life. According to the blog The Hundreds, he first started rapping bars to get the attention of his absent father, although he is no way influenced by his dad's sound. Now, around this time, he was listening to artists like 50 Cent, The Game, Dipset, and Lil Wayne. And like many of his fellow SoundCloud artists, he was also influenced by rock acts as well.
Aside from rap, like, you know what I mean, like I'm inspired by like Jimi Hendrix, like Sex Pistols, Nirvana. Like, I just love really different music.
Also, if you didn't get the memo from the large tattoo on the left side of his neck, well, he also clearly f***s with MF Doom. Now, Wi-Fi also claimed at a young age that he was already telling his mother that he had plans to get face tattoos. Then at 11 or 12 years old, yet another big shift happened in his family life.
My stepfather was in my life till I was like 11, 12, still was, like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Even with like him and my mom, like,
that's dope.
Not being together, but like, you know, shit was always rocky.
Isaiah recorded rap for the first time at just 13 or 14 years old. Now, as a young teen, he donned the rap name Izzy Kills. Now, the earliest examples of his music under that moniker that I could find was a music video uploaded to YouTube back in 2012. Now, he would have been just about 15 years old at the time, but already had obvious swagger and enough rap skills to do a solid cover of a track off of Nas's legendary album, Illmatic.
My life is blessed and I get out with no regrets as I step.
Isaiah would move on to use the name Mozart LaFleur when he was part of a group called the Mozart Collection, and later switched to Wi-Fi LaFleur. Now, here's a clip of one of his rap videos from this era, uploaded in January of 2014. It's called Acid featuring Merlin.
The low quality wallabies ripping vaginas.
Eventually, Isaiah settled on the name Wifisfuneral, and he said that he liked it because it sounded cool, but there's also a deeper meaning behind it.
My rap name from my dog right here, my DJ Scheme.
Okay. DJ Scheme.
Yeah, it was just like based off our friendship because I met him because one of his homeboys that committed suicide when we was like 13, 14. So that's where the funeral part like falls in. And then Wi-Fi just because I want the music to just be global.
He and DJ Scheme, government name Gabe Carrera, well, they were a duo at the time. And while DJ Scheme has pretty much stayed out of the limelight, he's considered to be one of the most influential people in South Florida hip-hop today. Now, the Miami New Times, they referred to him as DJ Clue to Miami's up-and-coming Jay-Z's. Both Scheme and Wi-Fi would soon come to work with some of SoundCloud rap's biggest stars. Wi-Fi would come up as an on and off again part of Members Only, the rap collective formed in 2015 by X and Ski Mask the Slump God.
As far as like young people, they didn't make an outlet. So like me, Ski, X, like a couple of other people too, like we just made like this huge movement and this huge outlet.
But it was a bumpy road. Needless to say, Wi-Fi's mom was not a big fan of his growing collection of face tattoos. More importantly, she was worried about him trying to be a rapper, having witnessed the trials and tribulations of his father trying to make it. Still, Isaiah, he dropped out of high school during his sophomore year and got kicked out of the house. He was sleeping on his friends' floors from there on out. Now, at the same time, he was dealing with both depression and substance abuse issues. He used Xans before dabbling in a bunch of other stuff like Percocets, Coke, and Adderall. And well, unintentionally, he overdosed 4 different times.
People don't really understand what it is to like deal with someone that has like depression and then you trying to cope with that depression through having an addiction.
Wi-Fi dropped Black Heart Revenge in 2016, and he said it wouldn't have been possible without his drug and depression issues.
If I had not overdosed, that whole mixtape would not have came out at all, or the way how it like sounds, cause like I was like really fucking sad when making that project.
He also said of the project, it was the first project I ever had that broke through the internet. It wasn't on a mainstream or underground level, people were just paying attention to it. BHR would hit the 60s range on the iTunes charts, and after that success he sat down with Scheme to decide what was next. They decided they wanted to hit something more emotional, and Wi-Fi, he had something in mind. He explained. So all in all, it was more if I was mentally ready to say what I was about to say, because the whole mixtape was a suicide note. I read the note and took sections of it for the album, and the day I decided on the name was the day we started working on it. We were in the studio every day making songs naturally. Every song was straight to the point. When Hell Falls is just for people to look at me in a different light and to realize that I'm not like these other people. That project dropped in January of 2017. It took just 2 weeks to complete, and upon its release, it attracted the attention of Todd Moskowitz, who he signed Wi-Fi to his label, Alamo Records. Now that year, he would also release Boy Who Cried Wolf and would go on to tour the Revenge Tour with X and the rest of Members Only. Now that tour had no shortage of violent altercations, and Wi-Fi himself had made headlines on his first performance on the tour with a stage dive that, well, it didn't go exactly as planned. After getting a bit of a beating by a few people in the crowd, Wi-Fi's unconscious body was then lifted by the crowd and drawn forward to security, who brought him to the hospital. Well, there he was treated for minor injuries. Now before you go thinking that the crowd in general hated him, let me share with you his side of the story. He told XXL shortly after the incident took place, "First and foremost, I want to clarify that that wasn't the first stage dive I actually did. That was probably like the 5th stage dive that I did. The first stage dive that I did, the crowd was fucking with it. I stage dived 2 or 3 more times, crowd was lit. They were asking me to come in the crowd." He went on to say, "I noticed there were these 3 guys and they looked really fucking mad. And I was like, why they look so mad? So I never paid mind to it. Supposedly exactly where I stage dived, it was close enough for those 3 guys to do exactly what they said they were gonna do. So I don't know if it was a setup for me or it was a setup in general for anybody in Members Only, but at the end of the day, I'm coolin', brah." I'm glad to hear he's coolin'. Not me, I'm a sweaty mess. Now apparently immediately after Wi-Fi got knocked out, X also asked the crowd who did it, but no one in the crowd owned up to it. And he would also have a heart-to-heart with Wi-Fi telling him, "You took that shit like a man, bro. I'm proud of you. You ain't squeal." None of that. But not everyone paid Wi-Fi as much respect for how he took the beat down. We'll get into that in just a second, but it's getting a little spooky in here. You've all heard of Candy Pens, right? If the name doesn't ring a bell, well, I got a good feeling you've seen them before.
I came from the bando.
Let me be the one, baby, do you mind?
Candy Pens was named Best Vaporizer of 2018 by High Times due to its combination of popular technology and flashy design. They're also quickly becoming the go-to choice for vaping in the hip-hop and rap community, with co-signs from DJ Khaled, Fatboy SSE, P&B Rock, and ASAP Rocky. In fact, ASAP, he's got his own line called the Flacco Jody Collection. And Amber Rose, well, she has her own Candy Pens billboard out in Los Angeles, where she is promoting her own signature line. Now remember, Candy Pens are for adults 18 years and older, and seeing as I fit the bill, well, guess who they just signed on as their latest brand ambassador? Yeah, they've also hooked me up with the ability to get you all 25% off your entire order during checkout, and there's a link down below. Please use the promo code BTWF25 so you get all that money back. All right, now back to Wi-Fi. So he got beat up in the crowd in a video of the incident. It went viral, and here's how Joe Budden reacted to that clip on Everyday Struggle.
It's really hard to be more insensitive than Joe, but they beat the shit out of him. He was unconscious.
I don't laugh at my guy like that. Okay.
Funny.
Joe would go on to insult Wi-Fi several times throughout the segment. He laughed at the guy a few different times for getting the beat down. He made fun of his stage name and said he refuses to call him by it. He also referred to both Wi-Fi and Ski Mask as academics' YouTube buddies.
Ski Master, Slump God. We have.
All right, let's stop shouting out all your little YouTube buddies.
No, these are rappers.
But the most insulting of all was the way he decided to end the segment.
Unfortunately, I don't care enough about Wi-Fi or his funeral to continue to speak about this.
Now I'm actually gonna chime in and give a little bit of my opinion. I think Wi-Fi's funeral is probably the best moniker I've heard. I mean, like forever, I love it. Now once again, Wi-Fi, he decided to take this beating like a man. His response to Joe was a new song called Joe Budden Probably Thinks I Can't Rap. More than a response to Joe himself, the track was a demonstration of his skills. And for all the haters who think SoundCloud rappers are all mumble rappers who can't spit bars.
In the 3rd grade, I got punished for cyber play. Call my friend Johnny a face.
After hearing the track, Joe Budden actually acknowledged the track as lit on both Everyday Struggle and on Twitter, and before long, he'd be getting recognition from something even bigger than Joe. And I'm talking about XXL, who put him on the list in 2018 for the freshman class list. Said list twice.
Everybody on this whole XXL freshman list, I'm gonna be the one that people are gonna be like, why the hell is he on here? Promise you. Calling it right now.
Wi-Fi's next mixtape would be Ethernet, and it was much talked about throughout 2017. Now he planned to launch it on May 25th and then finally released it on June 8th. Now the much anticipated project was well worth the wait, with tracks like Knots featuring Jay Critch, Little Sky's Funeral featuring Lil Skies, and Juveniles featuring YB and Namir. Now as for the rest of the story, I guess we'll have to wait and see because this is before they're famous. My name is Mike McCrudden, thanks for checking out this video. We have 2 more suggested videos for you down here. If you enjoyed this one, well, you're probably gonna enjoy those. Also, thanks again to our friends at Candy Pens. Let us know who's next in the comments down below. I'll see you guys in another video. Boom! New studio, how's the new audio? I feel like we finally kind of starting to figure it out.